9 chess mistakes to avoid. Have you ever lost a chess game you were sure you had in the bag? Maybe you were crushing your opponent, confidently moving pieces. Then bam. One small mistake, and everything crumbled. It's frustrating, it's confusing, and it's painfully common. But what if those heartbreaking losses weren't just bad luck, but avoidable errors? Stick around, because we're about to expose 9 sneaky chess mistakes that quietly sabotage your games and how to stop falling for them. Mistake number 9. Blundering in a winning position. It's incredibly frustrating to build a winning position, only to lose because of a careless blunder. Often, players get too confident, rushing moves without proper calculation. They might overlook a simple tactic, miss a check, or forget a piece is hanging, and just like that, the advantage slips away. Blunders usually happen when you're relaxed and think you've already won. However, this is precisely the time when your opponent is most alert and desperate, so they might find a hidden resource. Therefore, always double-check your moves, especially when you're ahead. One slip can be all it takes to hand over the game. The best way to avoid this painful mistake is to remain focused until the very end. Don't let your guard down, even if you're several points up in material. Play each move with the same discipline and care as you did in the opening or middle game, and you'll close out your wins far more consistently. Mistake number 8. Overlooking your opponent's threats. One of the most common yet dangerous mistakes in chess is ignoring what your opponent is trying to do. You may be so fixated on your plan that you forget your opponent has ideas too. This tunnel vision can lead to missed tactics, checkmates, or devastating counterattacks. To play well, you must constantly ask yourself, what does my opponent want? Or, what will they play next? This habit helps you anticipate threats and neutralize them early. Even if you have a great strategy, you must be flexible enough to adapt it when danger arises. Moreover, watching your opponent's moves carefully can offer you opportunities to strike. If they play a weak or overly aggressive move, you can punish it, but only if you're paying attention. Chess isn't just about executing your plan, it's about preventing theirs. Mistake number 7. Ignoring king safety. Neglecting your king's safety can cost you the entire game, even if everything else looks perfect. A king stuck in the center or exposed behind a weakened pawn structure is a magnet for attacks. It only takes one open file or diagonal for disaster to strike. Therefore, castling early is usually a smart decision. It not only gets your king to safety, but also connects your rooks, improving coordination. However, if you delay or skip castling altogether, you may soon regret it, especially when your opponent launches a sudden attack. Always be mindful of pawn moves around your king. Pushing the pawns on your castling side might seem harmless, but it often creates exploitable weaknesses. So while it's tempting to chase enemy pieces with pawns, think twice if it leaves your king vulnerable. Mistake number 6. Failing to develop all your pieces. Developing only a few pieces while leaving others stuck on the back rank is a classic beginner's error. Your chances of controlling the board are slim if only half your army is participating. So, it's important to bring all your minor pieces, knights and bishops, into play early. The longer a piece stays undeveloped, the longer it takes to become useful. Therefore, delaying development, especially in favor of premature queen moves or pawn pushes, usually backfires. You want your pieces to be active, coordinated, and ready to support your plans. Moreover, undeveloped pieces make your position cramped and harder to defend. If an attack comes and your forces are stuck at home, you'll have fewer ways to resist. Get your team into the game quickly, and your overall position will naturally improve. Mistake number 5. Neglecting your opening principles. Opening principles are simple yet powerful guidelines that help you start the game on solid footing. Ignoring them often leads to weak positions and early trouble. Players who move their queen out too early or push too many pawns usually suffer the consequences. Instead, you should aim to control the center, develop your knights and bishops, and get your king to safety. These basic ideas may seem obvious, but they create the foundation for a successful game. If you stray too far from these principles, you might find yourself in a losing position before the middle game even begins. However, following opening principles doesn't mean memorizing complex lines. Rather, it's about understanding ideas and developing good habits. Stick to these simple concepts and you'll rarely be caught off guard in the early stages. Mistake number 4. Not controlling the center. The center of the board is the most valuable area, and failing to fight for it can lead to passive play. Pieces placed in the center usually control more squares and have greater flexibility. So if you allow your opponent to dominate the center, you'll struggle to find good squares for your own pieces. Controlling the center doesn't require flashy tactics or deep calculations. Simple moves like e4, d4, nf3, and nc3, or their equivalents for black, lay strong foundations. However, if you ignore the center and fumble with flank pawn moves, you may quickly find yourself pushed back. Furthermore, central control often leads to better attacking chances. It also allows you to shift your forces more easily between the queen side and king side. Therefore, even while defending, try to maintain influence over the central squares. Mistake number 3. Trading without a clear reason. Many players fall into the habit of trading pieces just because they can. But every exchange changes the position and must be considered carefully. Random trades may relieve pressure for your opponent or damage your own pawn structure. Therefore, before you exchange, ask yourself what you gain. Are you eliminating a strong piece, simplifying into a better endgame, or creating weaknesses? If the answer is no, it's often better to keep the tension and wait. On the other hand, refusing to trade when it benefits you is also a mistake. If your opponent has an active piece that's causing problems, trading it off can be a smart strategy. The key is to evaluate the position and trade only when it improves your chances. Mistake number 2. Moving the same piece multiple times early. Wasting early moves by shuffling the same piece around is a poor use of time. While it may feel like you're creating threats or chasing pieces, you're actually falling behind in development. Meanwhile, your opponent is steadily bringing their whole army into play. Instead of repeating moves, aim to develop each piece once to a good square. Every tempo counts in the opening, so it's better to improve your position broadly than focus narrowly. If your opponent gains control of the center while you're bouncing a knight around, you're likely in trouble. However, sometimes you're forced to move a piece twice if it's under attack, or if you spot a tactical opportunity. In such cases, it's fine, but don't make it a habit without a reason. Think of development as a race, and use every move wisely. Mistake number 1. Playing too fast or too slow. Managing your time during a game is crucial, yet many players struggle with it. Playing too fast often leads to careless mistakes and missed tactics. You might feel confident and blitz out moves, but without proper thought, even simple ideas can go wrong. On the other hand, thinking too long can be just as dangerous. If you burn too much time early on, you'll face time pressure later, making even easy moves difficult. Therefore, finding a balance between quick intuition and careful calculation is essential. One useful habit is to use your opponent's turn to plan ahead. This way, you're rarely caught off guard and can manage your clock more effectively. Whether you're playing rapid, blitz, or classical, good time management can often be the difference between winning and losing.